UCF, the University of Central Florida. It's in Orlando. And we were the main university in all the mainland US to be impacted with the most so-called displaced students. We receive around 210 students. And to give you kind of a background, a little bit of UCF, we're becoming a Hispanic serving institution. That means that 25% of our students are actually Hispanics. We have 66,000 students. We're the second largest university in the nation. So that means we have a lot of resources. I was actually looking at the budget of the university. It's about $2.1 billion. So there's a lot of resources. And that's the main university in Central Florida where we have the emergence of our new community here in the US. So I did my AA, my associates, and then transferred to UCF. And when I got there, I realized there was no student, like Puerto Rican Students Association. For me, that was incredible because we were in Orlando. So I was like, I have the vision, as Dr. Melendez was saying in his opening remarks. You have to first identify the problem, do your research, and then take your action. And then when I propose to myself to take an action, I don't stop until I do it. So that's what I did. I had that mentality of actually starting the association. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I was doing something right. And so actually, the first Irma came to Florida, and that same week I was actually preparing my flyers to promote myself and the association that was emerging, and I wasn't able to do it because of the hurricane. But then the first week of classes came by and started giving the flyers, and then Maria was announced in Puerto Rico, and I was like, this is crazy. At first, we didn't have that huge amount of people, but we were having already, like when we started the first before this, 20 to 30 members already, like within UCF before the new students. So we were pretty successful compared to associations that were already, at the university. And so what we did is we created a relief efforts committee, knowing what's going to come, because the university had already extended it's called the residence tuition reduction, which you were consider the tuition of in-state, which is $3,000 versus $11,000, so a discount of $9,000 per semester for the students. And it included the students who were already at UCF, who had out-of-state tuition, and also the students who were going to start in this semester, spring 2019. And so it was a great initiative from the University of Central Florida. What we noticed was that the university was actually extending this in-state tuition, this help for the transfer student for only one semester. So what we did is we tried to engage as much as possible with the community outside, because it was so important. We were all being impacted, not only at UCF. So we partnered with Boricua Vota Iniciativa Acción Puertorriqueña, which is a big nonprofit organization in Orlando. And actually, we went to also community events where we were invited to host, like the Puerto Rican table, Puerto Rican student table. And so we came to be, from all of our initiatives, kind of the head of pretty much all the Puerto Rican students in the Central Florida area. And all the community, leaders wanted to invite us, and we're here actually with Congresswoman Murphy, who is our district congresswoman. Then you can go ahead. And so what we did, Puerto Ricans didn't exist at UCF. The estimate is from that 25%, which accounts for like 17,000 students who are Hispanics, we are about 38. So that's the estimate. The biggest Hispanic, from the Hispanics, the big population are Puerto Ricans. And we are about 6,000 at UCF. That's the estimate. There's no specific number, but that's the estimate. So there was no sense of being Puerto Rican at UCF or any emergence of actually, taking initiative and having a presence. So we created a whole, obviously we had the situation, but what we did is we took that opportunity, we created a media campaign to actually expose ourselves. So we actually, we were really relevant, if not the most relevant Hispanic population, and one of the most relevant populations at the university right now. They're paying the administration, everyone's paying us attention, all of a sudden. Now you can go ahead. So what we did is we hosted the first Puerto Rican Student Leadership Conference. We actually invited students from FIU because Florida International University doesn't have any Puerto Rican association also. It's incredible. It's the second biggest pretty much, in Florida, and they don't have one. So they came, we invited them. They came and we hosted some of our great leaders within Florida. You can see that's Bob Cortez and Amy Torres. They're both Florida representatives who are Puerto Rican. Orange County Commissioner Emily Bonilla, Dr. Fernando Rivera, who's a researcher at UCF, Mr. Jimmy Torres and Adela Lopez. They're both great community leaders. And so what we want to do is a development of our youth leadership, because that's our future. And in Orlando, we need to have people who are going to be successful, who are going to be the leaders of our future. So that's what we're trying to build. So when we saw that the students had to actually pay those $9,000, what we told ourselves is we have to take an action. So kind of the new coalition we created at UCF, the Puerto Rican leaders, we said we want to take this to the table and do everything we have to do to make sure that at least we can extend that in-state tuition for a year, which is the requirement for students to get their residency, their official work, without asking. You're a resident, that's it. You don't have to ask for more in-state tuition. So that's why they did what we did. We pushed through the Student Senate, and that's the Board of Trustees, which is the board that governs over the university. And so we got the support from elected officials, from Dan Soto, Congresswoman Murphy, even the governor of Puerto Rico supported our effort. All over, the community, it was the media, it was amazing. We worked all around, and so we presented through our president of the student government, and we got approved unanimously, and so we I call it, we transform a policy, and I think that's the vision we all have to have. I'm a student, I'm not an elected official, whatever, I believe in myself a lot. But I mean, I'm just putting into perspective that we as individuals, if we propose ourselves to do something, we can do it. It just takes the effort. So I mean, pretty much we're very proud of our efforts because we've had great achievements. Our most, greatest effort is extending the in-state tuition, but also we were awarded by UCF as the new organization of the year. So I believe in having, as Martin Luther King, having a dream and then going for it, achieving it. And I think that's the vision we have to have. And also, right now, as continuing my efforts, I want to pursue the Student Center to have more of a broad capacity of resources, and I want to start organizing the different universities and students around Florida. And if we can at a national level, so that's why we're here to network and to expand our opportunities to help our diaspora and the island. Thank you.